Hello and welcome to Mofo RC Garage. Today we have two of these little new Axial Ax24 micro scale kind of comp four-wheel steer twin ladder frame chassis, or twin vertical plate, I guess you could call it. They do have a couple new parts on them. I'm not exactly sure what each new part is. I know the shocks are new. The links are definitely different. The skid plate is new. The shocks are really long. They do have a kind of hinging Velcro system that kind of sort of works. I don't know. It's a little janky. The Velcro comes off sometimes. These are both, or were both, stock, just box stock, right out of the box, AX24s. And what I did today was pulled the stock motor out of this orange one, and I just put a little teeny tiny torquebeast 30 in it. The torquebeast 30, it's a really great motor for lighter weight rigs. Now, if you're going to put a ton of weight on this thing, I probably wouldn't recommend using the torquebeast 30. I wouldn't recommend using any 30 size motor. But for something, let's say you're just going to comp it the way it is, or maybe you're going to put some brass steering knuckles on it, or maybe some like brass hex weights, brass steering links. Other little brass bits like that. You can put a couple of brass bits on it, you'll be fine. You can put some new wheels and tires on it, you'll be fine running the torquebeast 30. But when you get this sucker up to like 400, 500 grams, you really need a 50 size motor. But the demonstration I wanted to show today was the difference in the low speed control when going from the stock Axial 30 motor, or Horizon Dynamite motor, to the torquebeast 30 sized motor. And this 30 size motor, I've never really disclosed much about the internals of it. I hate doing that because every time I say something about it, somebody else steals something from one of my designs and uses it and sells it on Amazon and makes hundreds of thousands or millions of dollars off of something that I've designed. So I'm not going to really talk much about what it is. If you want to buy one and tear it apart and find out what it is, you can. But I'm not going to talk much about it. The main difference, though, and I will show you in super easy demonstration here of just what kind of main difference. So right here we have the stock motor in this one right here. Now, if I try to pull the trigger as lightly as possible on this one, it starts going, and that's pretty much as slow as you can make it go. I'll try it again. That's like the startup speed, and the speed it stays at the whole time when you're trying to go as slow as possible. Now that becomes a problem when you're going up or down or side hill or any kind of direction. When you need something, precise, and you're trying to go slow and you just barely hit the gas and it just jumps. And then you're over that hump, your wheel fell into the ditch you were trying to avoid, or you roll off the side of a cliff, or whatever might have happened. So the remedy to that is a good motor. And these are built with actual brushes inside of them. If you take apart this little dynamite motor, there's just a couple little metal tags that rub on the actual armature of the motor. And so they don't last very long. They burn out easily. They burn out quickly. These do have actual brushes in them. They have good strong magnets in them. The wire in them is a proprietary winding count in diameter for Mofo RC. We are the only ones that have this motor, just like all of our motors. We are the only ones that have any of our motors. if you go online and you buy like an Endura or a, I'm not going to say a bunch of brand names. You know, let's just say you go online and you buy somebody else's, a competitor motor that is not Mofo RC. You are buying the same motor that 15 or 20 other companies all sell, that they get at the same exact place. There's nothing really special about them. They're just kind of made. They are what they are. Some of them are good motors. Some of them have good torque. Some of them have good crawl speed. Some of them might have a decent mix of both. But there's nothing special about them. Every single one of the Mofo RC 30 and 50 size motors will all fit on the stock motor plate. So you don't have to go out and, they all give you a motor plate with them. You don't have to change the motor plate with the Mofo RC motors. We do offer them in several different variations. I'm trying to cut down on the variations because it's starting to become kind of a hassle with all the different motor options that I had. So we do offer these in a lot of variations still in either Mod 3 pitch or Mod 5 pitch. The difference between Mod 3 and Mod 5 is how big the gear lugs are on your pinion and your spur gear. The Mod 3 motor is going to have the smaller pitch. So when you look at the little gear lugs on that gear, which is going to be kind of hard for me to show you anything up close. So if you got a motor laying around, pick it up and look at it. The gear lugs on here are much smaller and the depths are much shallower, and there's a lot more of them than if this was a Mod 5 pitch motor or even a Mod 4 pitch motor like the Traxxas or some of the other ones. I think the FCX might be running a Mod 4. But we do offer these in Mod 3 and Mod 5. Mod 5 is more of a stronger gear pitch motor, something that if you're looking for, if you're looking for like a bashing motor, something you're going to, be going backward, forward, backward, forward, backward, forward, backward, forward, trying to get out of a tight spot constantly, you may want Mod 5. It's more for brushless, really. Mod 5 is really going to be more for brushless, where you have a ton of power and you could possibly strip these little gears out. Mod 3 will give you the benefit of a better low-speed crawl. Because the gear lugs are smaller, there's less room for the gears to kind of cog back and forth between each other. So, that being said, let me go ahead and show you the difference with the orange one here. Well, I will do the same thing. I will just try to go as slow as possible. We can almost go brushless slow with this thing. And there isn't any camera tricks here. I'm not doing anything weird. I don't have like a separate heavy finger that is different from my other finger that I use. This is the actual low speed startup right here on the torquebeast 30. Now the torquebeast 30, as I said, is not a super powerhouse motor. It's not like the 50 motors. This is all the speed you're going to get out of it right here. It's not super fast. It's not a giant, huge amount of torque diesel motor. It's just a great little option for something that you want to actually have some precision with. Maybe you're trying to teach your kids how to drive a rig without rolling off things all the time. You want to teach them a little bit of a better finger control. It's really hard to do that with these stock dynamite motors that come in these things because they're just so touchy. I mean, you try to go forward as slow as you can. Oh, there it goes. Especially if you're not just like paying attention. If you naturally have a heavy finger or you're not really focusing, it is very hard to make this go slow. And, just to show you that I don't have a heavy finger here, or, I'm not pretending here, I will use the throttle trim and just turn it up until it starts going. You know what I'm going to do first? I'm going to go ahead and turn that one up until it starts going first. Okay, this one, you can really fine tune it. So let me just get that kind of moving there. It's moving now. Oh, it's going to even come so slow that it's going to stop a couple times here. Now I'll try to do this one while I'm doing this here. That is as slow as this will go. Now let me turn this one up just a little bit. turn it down just a little bit more. There we go. Now you see how this one's getting all jittery and jumpy here. Let me turn it back up a little bit so it's not so jittery. There is no really good in-between on this. That's pretty much as slow as you can make this thing go without it just coming to a complete stop. Now let me turn that one back up a little bit. Whoa. So you can see the difference here of the slow speed control here that you can actually do with the Mofo RC torquebeast 30 motor. Now I'm not going to recommend that to everybody. I'm not going to recommend that to everybody who has a really heavy rig, because it's a 30 size motor. It doesn't have a ton of torque like the 50 size does, or even the 130 size big block motor does. But just to show the kind of comparison and how to make this rig a lot more usable off-road. Right now it's going to be pretty top heavy, it's kind of floppy, it's got a ton of flex, which is cool, and it's what it's designed for, really. It's meant to be like a competition kind of, you know, really going rig. It's meant to go through some big rocks and, you know, flex all over the place, but in its current form, it doesn't really have enough weight down low to keep it from rolling over all the time. And with a trigger pull like that, it's going to make it so much harder to do anything. So, if you are interested, I think I sell this motor for like $10 right now or something. It's not very much at all. It comes with a brass gear already pressed on it. You can get it in Mod 3 or Mod 5 pitch. I do not offer any bigger gear sizes on this motor because it's already a small motor without a ton of power. So you're not going to want to put a 20-tooth gear on that thing and expect it to really go anywhere. It's going to stall out all the time. And that's what you'll see if you get a really heavy rig and you try to put one of these on there. It's going to stall out quite often. But thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video as much as I enjoyed making it. One other quick thing real quick. It's not super hard to replace the motor in this, but it is harder than replace the motor in this than it is on the Axial Ax24. What I did, I tried to take off these screws on the bottom for the skid plate. They are really hard to get out all the way. So what I ended up doing is I took off these 4 screws up here that hold on the shocks, and the screw right below that hold the shocks, the screw right below that shock screw on that upper frame rail there. I took those 2 screws off, these 2 screws off, these 2 and these 2, and then I just went ahead and pulled all these wires out and took this whole thing right out of here. Then you can actually get, once you get all that out, you can actually just take off the motor cover, and you can hit those 2 little screws right there. It's especially easy if you're using some good quality tools, such as these Mofo RC tools that are nice and long and small and skinny, and they get down in there real nice and easily. Take things off, put things back on without stripping things out. They are hardened tool steel tips, so you don't have to worry about stripping the screws out. That's what I did to take the motor off, and it was fairly easy. A little more challenging than the Axial Ax24, but not terrible. So thank you again for watching. Expect more videos about these really soon. I've got a huge pile of upgrade parts over here from Mofo RC. I'm going to be putting on this orange one and testing out some different combos. So expect maybe some combos in the future on the Mofo RC website. That is just www.moforc.com. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.